In a matter of days, the Isle of Man Treasury was set to propose changes to the Manx State Pension, but this morning we're hearing there's been a change of plan. The so-called Manx Pension Guarantee would have seen those on the pension from the 5th of April 2019 onwards diverted away from the triple lock starting this year. It proved to be one of the most contentious issues with members in the House of Keys this week, pushing to debate that decision separately from the budget. Now, Treasury Minister Alex Allinson joins us live in the studio now. Moramai, Minister, tell us to begin with, why this U-turn and what are you now proposing instead?
Moramai, and again, this isn't really a U-turn. I know politicians will say that. We had the exceptional incident this week of a debate about the budget before the budget debate, where the vast majority of members said pause. They said, look, we know what you're trying to do. You're trying to secure the long-term sustainability of the NI fund, but we want more information, we want more modelling, we want more consultation, we want more listening, we want more understanding. And I respect that, and I respect the will of the elected House of Keys. So in response to the debate on Tuesday, which went on for the whole day, really, with a whole lot of questions about this as well, we have paused the introduction of the Manx State Pension Guarantee. We are going to honour the triple lock for all pensions, both the previous state retirement pension and the new Manx State Pension. But we're also going to work with members and work with those people affected, go for public consultation later on in the year, do exactly what the House of Keys asked for, which is inform, listen and consult with the people this would affect. But the problem there isn't going to go away. We've known since 2007 that if we do nothing with our current pension system, it's going to start running out and draining the NI fund. So it's absolutely the responsible thing to do to tackle this difficult decision, but do it in a way that brings everyone along and gains consensus.
You say this follows debate in the House of Keys this week, which I suppose shows you're listening to your fellow politicians on this. But what about the Manx public?
Yeah, well, I'm grateful to the Honourable Miss Edge and also Mrs. Kate Lord-Brennan, who brought the motions before us. I've been contacted by a lot of constituents who aren't quite sure which pension they're on, aren't quite sure whether they'd be affected by change. And actually, when I've explained the situation to them in terms of the state of the Manx State Pension, in terms of our ability to have control over upgrades of the pension in the future, they understand that. But there is still that the need to inform the public. So I'm very grateful to Manx Radio for broadcasting various things about this in advance. I think for a lot of people, they feel it's just a little bit too soon. They want more information, and that's what we'll be giving them over the coming months as we work with Timor members, but also with our community, so that they understand that what we're proposing is to protect their pension now, but also in the future.
Do you think it was a misstep to bring the Manx Pension Guarantee proposals so late, so close to the budget time? If you'd have brought them sooner, might you have got it through this year?
Well, I did signal this time last year at the last budget speech that this is what we needed to do to try to break with the triple lock. We had a big Tynwald debate in November with a range of different options, and then we published a report last month on the Register of Business, and I've talked about that quite openly. So I don't think any of this is hidden. I think what Tynwald members certainly said is that they needed to pause this, they needed to understand it a little bit better and look at the other options. So if we don't deal with the increase of pensions and have that related to Isle of Man inflation, there are other ways we could do it, but some of those involve charging people more who are working at the moment to pay into the National Insurance Fund. And so we need to balance that. And so there was a lot talked about in Tynwald on Tuesday about fairness, about equality, about intergenerational fairness as well. And we need to take that on board, because this doesn't just affect pensioners. It affects people like you who may want to retire on a pension in the future. So it's getting that long-term sustainability. And I think that's what the Tynwald debate showed. That's what the will of the elected representatives, many of them who talked about feedback from their constituents. And that's what Treasury is listened to.
We've had one minister say that they are in favour of scrapping the triple lock, as it was put. But how sustainable is that for the long term on the Isle of Man? You've mentioned about the National Insurance Fund being exhausted by 2047. Even this year delay, is that dangerous?
No, it's not dangerous. And again, we're not scrapping the triple lock. What we're dealing with is the people on the new Manx State Pension who retired since April 2019, who now have a completely different pension than the people who came before us. In terms of the changes we're making, they amount to around about £1.4 million extra money coming out into pensions out of a total budget of £1.3 billion. And again, what we've needed to do since Tuesday, for instance, is rewrite the draft Pink Book. There are 10 changes in that, which we've notified all Tynwald members yesterday. 10 figures that have changed due to this, but the overall Pink Book remains exactly the same. Members have had it since the 29th of January when we did the first briefing. They've been invited into Treasury, and we've also done another briefing on Monday this week to go through the budget again. So I'm hoping that everyone now knows exactly what we're proposing to announce to the nation on Tuesday. And again, I'm looking forward to the various interviews after that we'll be having to show that this budget is really about putting money in people's pockets and driving our economy and our community forward.
Some might argue that delaying difficult decisions on pension reform could put future retirees at risk. How do you respond to concerns that action needs to be taken sooner rather than later?
Well, you've just talked about that balance of making quick decisions or making the right decision in the right way with the right amount of consensus. It was quite clear from what was said in the House of Keys this week that people thought it was too soon to make these decisions, but these decisions do need to be made. So I am absolutely committed to having that national conversation with people, to go out for consultation, to inform and to allow people to make the right decision for the future nation, the future of our nation's sustainable financing.
You did say you were clear this time last year that changes were needed, but why hasn't that consultation that you've just mentioned there, why didn't that take place this year so we could have had this in place?
We've been doing a lot of modelling with actuaries, independent actuaries from the United Kingdom, on a range of different solutions and looking at which ones would actually sustain the fund into the future. We've also been looking at the state of the national insurance scheme in the United Kingdom. They've had a number of different changes and seeing whether they'd affect us. So there has been lots of things changing across that we've had to take into account. What we've now got is a whole series of different projections in terms of the fund and how to secure it into the future. We've already presented those to Tynwald and also published those on our website. So what we need to do now is communicate that with the public so that they better understand exactly what the options are available and actually ask them for their own views.
Do you think your fellow MHKs will be pleased at this announcement this morning?
Well, I'm reacting very much to their democratic debate on Tuesday, which was informed by them talking to their constituents over the last couple of months in terms of changes to the pension. There was some fear out there. There was some misunderstanding. We need to correct that. We need to make sure that when we do the right thing and securing the future of the National Insurance Fund is the right thing, we do it in the right way and bring everyone along with us. So I'm hoping that the announcement today will please members, because what we're doing is absolutely responding to the debate that we had in Tynwald this week.
And there was plenty of media attention over in the UK when you announced this Manx Pension Guarantee plan. Do you expect this move this morning will similarly make headlines?
I'm not sure. And again, this isn't about making headlines across. This is about doing the right thing for our community, our people. It's doing the right thing for pensioners now and giving them that security, because some of them have been worried about this and some of the statements made about scrapping the triple lock and how it would affect their pension. So reassuring them, but also being quite honest with people that we will need to make decisions. They'll be difficult for some people, but they have to be the right decisions for the future of our country.
Now, looking ahead, a motion on the National Insurance Scheme is due to be brought before Tynwald in April. What outcomes do you hope to see from that debate, and how soon could we see concrete proposals for reform?
So again, what we've done in response to some of the comments on Tuesday is I've got a motion tabled for April Tynwald, which really looks to try to recognise that the pressure on the National Insurance Fund supports the development of policies that ensure its continued viability and a sustainable approach to the future uprating of pensions. We're not talking about cutting pensions, we're talking about how they are increased year on year, and really looking at then going out for a public consultation, trying to inform everyone about what the issues are and the various options for addressing them.
We've had some listener texts in this morning saying if Dr. Allinson has the best interest of pensioners in mind, then why is the pension supplement being reduced by 5% per year? It was £54 per week. And why has the pension age for women been raised to 66 with the loss of over £60,000 plus the pension supplement? Can you answer that?
Yes, certainly. So the increase in the equalisation of the pension age between men and women was brought forward by previous administrations, both here and across. It was brought forward in terms of equality to try to make it equal, but there have been conversations and have been a lot of dispute about the way that was communicated to women. And there's an Ombudsman report in the United Kingdom which is due to go at some point towards their Parliament in Westminster for full debate. In terms of the other comment about the uprating of pensions and also the pension supplement, this was a transitional measure to ease people between the previous pension scheme and the new pension scheme. And so it's quite right, as we move everyone onto the new pension scheme, that gradually reduces.
Treasury Minister Alex Allinson, thank you so much for being with us this morning at short notice. Don't forget, of course, it is the budget on Tuesday. You'll be able to follow this live, our minute-by-minute coverage of what's happening in the Tynwald Chamber for Budget 2025. And if you missed any of this interview with Minister Allinson about these changes to the plans for the Manx State Pension, you can go back and listen again at manxradio.com.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Manx Radio Newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.